So, you're working in a job and something doesn't feel quite right. How do you know when it's time to quit? Well, stick around because in this video, I'm going to share 7 clues that you might want to consider updating your resume and looking for that next job. Hey everybody, it's Brian from A Life After Layoff. Today I want to cover 7 clues that it might be time to start moving to greener pastures. Now, if you've been following this channel, you probably realize that I am an advocate for the employee, but also the person who is career-oriented. And if we're career-oriented, we want to treat our career with a high degree of strategy. And if you want to move up the corporate ladder or improve yourself to some degree, there will come a time in every person's job where you have to consider making the next move. Because as we know, a steady job is bad for your career, but for somebody that doesn't know that, you should check out this video up here. But before we get into that, if you're interested in learning how to reclaim control and start to be more career-oriented with purpose, make sure that you check out my free weekly newsletter, and in it I share concise, actionable tips on job search, networking, and career strategy, so you don't want to miss it. Keep in mind, it's absolutely free. Hope to see you there. The first clue that it might be time to look for a new job is the namesake of this channel. It's that your company is laying people off, or they've laid people off recently. And it could be as far back as 2020. If they had a layoff back then they hired a bunch of people back and then laid off more people in 2023. Your company is demonstrating that they don't have a commitment to the employee. And if you're career-oriented and trying to move up the ladder, you certainly can't put your trust into a company that has not demonstrated any level of commitment to the average person. Because more than one career has been completely derailed by an untimely layoff, and somebody's saying, I didn't think it would happen to me, because rest assured, it can and it probably will happen to you at some point in your career. But if the company's giving you the indicator that it's likely to happen, pay close attention to the tea leaves. It's a company that's literally laying their people off should give you a huge warning sign that it might be time to update the resume and start to find a more stable environment. And realistically, it's the first tip that I would give anybody who wants to reclaim control in their career. It's to be proactive when you see negative things happening around you. You don't want to be caught off guard. You have to look out for yourself first. The second clue is that you have no upward mobility. There's nowhere for you to go. Because when we take control of our careers, we start to play chess. And if you're worried about upward mobility, you certainly have to have a company that can help facilitate that. And if there's nowhere obvious for you to go in your career, and more importantly, if your boss or the HR department, as a broader extension, doesn't give you any kind of career pathing, it's probably a strong indicator that you're going to be stuck in a dead-end job. You might want to update that resume and start to look for greener pastures. Because you have to keep in mind, it's up to you to make those opportunities happen. And if they're not happening in your current company, it's time to go find one that will. Which plays right in line with the next one. It's if you are passed up for promotion. If you're putting your time in, you've paid your dues, you've done everything that they have asked you to do, yet you still get passed up for that promotion, probably a strong indicator that you're not high on their high potential list. And listen, every company has a high potential list that they keep, and oftentimes they'll force you into boxes. They do this thing called a 9 box, where basically they will look at their entire organization and they'll put you into a certain quadrant or a category depending on what your potential is and how close you are to it. And if you find yourself in one of the bottom boxes, you can rest assured you're probably going to continue to get passed up for promotion. So if we want to take back control in our career and they're promoting the other person, they're telling you or broadcasting that they don't see you as that person just yet. But the question becomes is, how long do you want to ride this thing out to find out if eventually you will be? And I'll put a little asterisk here and say you have to be realistic here, because sometimes people just aren't ready. They haven't had enough experience doing the types of things that they need to do. Maybe just need a little bit more time developing some of those critical competencies. So don't knee-jerk reaction here. Be as pragmatic as you can. Look at it with an objective lens and determine, do I truly need more time, or have I got everything that I need and they just aren't recognizing me? If it's the latter, it's probably time to update your resume, find a better opportunity. The next clue that it might be time to leave is reserved strictly for those of you who have meticulously planned out your careers. It's that you've achieved everything you've set out to with this particular role and it's satisfied its need, and now you no longer need it to move on to the next job. Now, of course, all these other factors play a part. Is your boss recognizing you? Are they giving you the right opportunities to develop? Are you being passed up for promotion and all that stuff? But if you're truly ready, you've accomplished everything you needed in that particular role, and it now makes sense for you to explore the next higher level, that's a clue that it might be time to look for a new job, especially if you're being blocked for some reason in your current organization. But in order to do that, you need to have a boss who can develop you. If you're stuck behind a boss who is incapable, or even worse, unwilling to develop you to the next level, you're going to be stunted in your growth. And it's going to hurt not just this job, but it's also going to hurt your long-term career, because you should be looking at your career with a high degree of strategy and knowing what things you need to develop. And if you don't have a strong boss above you, unfortunately, you're just never going to get there. It's going to take a lot longer to do it. This one's really common. I myself have had bosses that I could not learn anything from because I knew more than they did. And I'm sure we've all had these experiences before where somebody gets over promoted, or they're in the right place at the right time, or whatever the case may be. And you find yourself looking at them going, how the heck did this person get this promotion? But now they're charged with developing you, and they may feel some level of threat, and they might not want to do that. If that's the case, you certainly need to get out of that organization, because not only are they not going to develop you, they're going to hold you back, but they also have the ear of the organization, the senior leaders, and they're probably not going anywhere. So if you find that your boss is not somebody that you can learn from, it's time to update your resume and find the next job that can. Now, the last two are probably more in line with the things that you thought you were going to get in this video. And the first one is that your health is affected. The organization, it maybe has some sort of a toxic trait to it where work-life balance is an issue, or you're really stressed out, you're overworked, and you just simply cannot seem to get your head above water. If this is the case and you're finding that your stress levels are starting to manifest in other health-related issues, then it might be time to seriously look at getting out of that organization and finding something that's got a better balance. Because at the end of the day, no job is worth your mental, emotional, or physical health. Finally, it's if the company is a mess, maybe the industry is not growing, the company's not profitable, maybe they have a failed business, or they've been stagnant and might play a part in there's no opportunities for upward growth, or maybe they don't have the amount of money to sink into the right kinds of systems and software and technologies that you need to move your career forward. And the longer you stay in an organization like that, the further the external market will move without you. And you could find that when you do end up back in the job market, that the market itself has passed you by. All of your competition has these knowledge, these skills, these abilities, and you haven't. And if you stay in the same job for a long period of time, that's one of the reasons why a steady job is bad for your career. Needless to say, though, if you see any of these signs, it may be time for you to seriously consider updating your resume and starting to look for that next job opportunity. Because again, if you're career oriented, you have to be looking out for yourself first and foremost, and reading the tea leaves in your career. But if you find yourself being frustrated and you're stuck and you don't know what to do next, that's actually something that I do specialize in. I've got a website called alifeafterlayoff.com, which is loaded with tips and tricks, all from an inside recruiting professional. And I share my deepest and most intimate knowledge in the form of some training courses, resume training, how to write your own resume, how to interview with strategy, how to approach the job market, how to leverage LinkedIn in your networks, which is a really powerful one if you're trying to get ahead in your career. And all these courses are designed to work with one another because each one of them is a component or a piece to the puzzle. If you find yourself particularly struggling and you want some more personalized help, I do offer some limited one-on-one coaching. You can reach me through my website for that. Anyway, hopefully this video was enlightening and maybe lighting a little proverbial fire under some people's butts to get you moving and taking action, because that's what we're all about in our careers as we act like the CEO. Anyway, appreciate you watching. We'll see you on the next one.